Hello and welcome to h2o.inc.edu, your free learning channel. I'm starting this video outside because, well, it's a beautiful day, as always. And I was thinking about, today we're going to talk about Mercury, and it represents both life and death. And outside I have the grass that's alive and with all those pretty yellow flowers. And behind me I have my compost pile, which is in essence a pile of decaying dead leaves, but inside of which there is a lot of life. And that life feeds also worms, and the worms feed the bird, and so on. So there is again a cyclicality in everything. And Hermes, the symbol of Hermes, was a staff with two intertwined snakes underneath a set of wings, one of the snake representing daylight and the other snake representing nighttime. And so at night, Hermes was busy accompanying the dead to death, to Hades, and during daytime he would be a counselor to merchants. And so he was a very busy person, which is kind of funny because most of the Virgos and Gemini that I know are very big thinkers, and so they've told me on a couple of occasions that it does keep them awake to constantly be thinking and analyzing things. But they're very, very smart people, very analytical on everything. They don't miss anything. And so I wanted to start this video outside just so that I don't forget about the pile of compost. And I also wanted to do the other part inside for the mathematics and everything. So there is a relationship. I wanted to start again because it was so good to keep that good advice, even as a reminder to myself, about the 7 deadly sins and the 7 heavenly virtues. So the sins are pride, greed, wrath, envy, lust, gluttony, sloth. And the 7 heavenly virtues are prudence, vigilance, justice, temperance, courage, faith, hope, and charity. Now, the funny thing is, in real life, we really have sometimes this 7 that appears. Like, for instance, in South America has exactly 7 countries, and in the Andes, there's a mountain that has exactly 7 colors. And in Japan, they have a bean that grows with 7 little pods inside of it. So it's kind of fun. And why do I relate this 7 to Hermes? It's because Hermes was the son of Zeus and Maya. And Maya was the eldest of 7 sisters. And Hermes created the lyra, which has 7 strings. So the 7 keeps coming back everywhere, and that's why I had to do that little reminder. Now, where am I? Yeah, it's a complex video, so I have to keep track of everything. I think maybe I'm ready to go inside because, well, in Nordic mythology, Hermes is related to the god Odin, who also did this traveling between day and night and took the dead to the Valhalla. And in Egypt, he was represented by Anubis, who was doing the very same job. So all of these things seem to coincide, And the other thing that I saw was that we'll do the math inside, but there's actually a correlation between Moses and Hermes, because if you think of it, in the Bible, Moses had a stick that turned into a snake. And the thing is, when Moses took all the Jews out of Egypt, he was himself royalty. And so he had been taught how to write, how to read hieroglyphics, which was a pretty complex form of writing. And he's taking a people who were essentially slaves. And if we look not too far back, slaves are not people who are literate generally. So if he took those people into the desert, I'm expecting that maybe he could have been the inventor of the Hebraic alphabet. why not? You know, because there's this connection that the Hebraic alphabet has exactly 22 letters to it, and Mercury takes 88 days to go around. So 88 divided by 4 gives you 22. And so here we are. So I'll hold it here. You can always pause the video if there's too much information and go back. They're not easy to make those videos because, as you know, there's a lot of content to them, but I don't want to waste your time either with just fluff. So this is how I wrote it down, where you'll notice that the similarities between the Hebraic alphabet and the Greek alphabet. Aleph, Bet, Geme, Dalet. In the Greek alphabet, it's Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta. So we keep the first letter always the same, just as the A, B, C, D, E, F, you know. And I find that very, very interesting. And when we look at the writing, you know, if we look at the first letter, Aleph, it almost looks like a staff and then a little drawing around it. I almost looked at it, when I look at the alphabet, I almost look at it as if it was telling me the story of the Jewish people in the desert, you know. And it's a fascinating thing that I wanted to share, because I could be wrong, you know, but given that this is the Arabic alphabet engraved following the moon, and Israel is not that far from the Arabic world, it's just right next door. So that wouldn't be that far-fetched, especially if the archaeologists figured out that the Venusian alphabet and hieroglyphics were following Venus. So this could be following Mercury. And that would make sense to me, that if you have the right filters, you could maybe see Mercury, how it goes. What else do I have for you today? Mercury in medical astrology rules the nervous system. And if you think about it, outside of the moon, which takes 28 days to go around, Mercury is the fastest moving object, 88 days. Now here's a funny fact. When you divide that orbit of 88 days by pi, you get 28.01 something, like the 28 days of the moon. I mean, God and the sky ordains everything. So when I see it, okay, you know, if it makes sense, it adds up, or, you know. So I wanted to share that too. And in the Renaissance, Hermes was kind of credited for the Prisca Theologia, which was one single through theology which threads all religions. And it's funny that this guy had 3 temples. Hermes had 3 temples to him. One in Arcadia, one in Lycaon, I don't know if I pronounce it right, and the third one in Circus Maximus in Rome. And Mercury, as I said, rules Gemini, which is the 3rd house of the zodiac. Virgo is the 6th house, so 3 times 2. There's always a relationship, because on one side of the year during spring, you have Gemini, so Mercury is on one side of the sun, and during fall it's on the other side, so that's why it's ruling Virgo. And what else did I have for you? I think I'll stop here, other than maybe mention the Passover that is big in the Hebraic religion. And Hermes was also represented with a lamb, because he was protector of the lamb herders and goat herders and all that, which is a funny thing, because he was the one who stole his brother's herd. So they figured it was better to have him as a protector than a thief. But I think, yeah, I'll stop here for now. This way, it won't be too complicated.